Howdy ho! Welcome back. Last time we fixed some tedious bugs and handled users ranking their choices. Today we'll handle sending users to a results page where they'll wait for all the results to come in. And once all the results have arrived, we'll show the results to every participant. As a reminder, if you'd like to follow along with this tutorial, you can go to Jacob SN Goodwin /ranker course, and I have a branch for the code at the end of each tutorial. Today's tutorial is 25, so if you want to follow along, you can clone or de-get the code in this 24 voting page branch with the getting started instructions. And I hate to say this, I thought you guys were smart enough to know on your own, but make sure to like the video, and I actually don't care if you subscribe, but yeah. So what we're going to do is send each user to a results page after they submit their votes. So they don't have to wait for everyone to submit votes. We'll know if they have voted if their ID is found in a rankings object that comes back from the server, and the rankings object is a part of the poll object. And so we can just match and check if their ID is there. In a more secure app, I probably wouldn't actually send the rankings back to the client. So these rankings actually show like the user ID to an array of all of the nomination IDs. So maybe someone who's smart could look at the data and, take advantage of that in their voting. But this is just an app for friends to vote. So let's not worry about that. So what we're going to do is add a derived field called has voted to our state. So it looks like I have Storybook open here. I don't know why I'm showing this. Let's go back to the code. The code. So yeah, this is the app running and this is Storybook. So I'll hit Command J to close that. And let's go ahead and add the new stuff. So let's scroll up towards the top. And actually, while we're at it, let's go ahead and add a results enum for our new app page that we're going to create. So this just holds all of our possible names of our app pages. And then in the app state here, we're going to add actually two new fields. So one is that has voted field, which basically is the derived field that shows if the user has voted. And then we'll have another one that just counts the total number of rankings received. Or I guess it's more like the total number of participants who have ranked, but the number is good enough for me. So we're getting an error because our state does not have those fields. So let's add them. And these will be using getters inside the proxy object for reasons I showed 2 tutorials ago about trouble with using derived in Valtio. So this has voted will get the poll's rankings, and it will use an empty object otherwise. And maybe I can actually, use that notation if you want. I got used to doing this before there was that, what is it called, nullish coalescing or whatever, but feel free to use this notation if you want. All right. And then we'll get the user ID, and then we'll see if the rankings at the user ID, so the rankings is a map or an object with the user ID as the key, if that's undefined, then we'll say, or if it's not undefined, we'll say that the user has voted, returning true, otherwise false. And for the rankings count, we'll just get the rankings object, otherwise we'll default to an empty object and get the length of the keys. Remember, object.keys returns an array of the keys. And we're also going to give the admin the ability to close the poll, and this will send an event to the server called close poll, which basically means no more voting and to show the results. So let's go to actions, and maybe under nominate, we'll add close poll, which will just emit the closed poll or close poll event with no payload. Looks like we have that TypeScript error again that we saw last time, so I'm just going to hit Command-Shift-P and restart the TypeScript server. So we're now at the point where we can create a results page and then send the user to that page if their derived has voted state is true. So let's add a new file called rankings.tsx, and we're going to just scaffold out some basic React here. There will be some unused stuff as of yet. So we'll just import React useState, and we'll use our state snapshot with Valtio, which will be a snapshot of this state. We'll have the poll, the isAdmin field, because there will be some admin only stuff. We'll use the participant count. I think we're going to import some more stuff like the rankings count in a little bit, so that's not complete. We'll have some state to show if the confirmation dialog is open, and this will be to close the poll. And then we'll also give users the option to leave the poll once the results are shown. So leaving the poll basically means they'll just like clear their local app state and token. So maybe there's a better term for that. Then we'll return this main flex div and the outer div. And then in that, we'll have a full width div here. And we'll have some text centered that just says results. So let's save that. Now let's add to our pages component at the top level here. This is where we kind of have this use effect that determines what the user's state is and what the poll state is. It determines what page to send them to. So the first thing we need to do is register that enum mapped to the actual component. And so then we'll import that results component we just created here. And so then we can push the user to this page. And then we'll update our use effect here to check beneath here, and we can get rid of this add sequential check here. This is the final check. So we'll say if there is a current user and if they have voted. So we'll check if current state.me.id and current state.hasVoted, then set them to the results page. And then let's add one more dependency then, because we need to rerun this if the current state.hasVoted changes. So I actually don't like that I have three separate if conditions kind of in one use effect. So there's probably a way to clean this up with multiple effects, but I think it's working. Now, before demonstrating all of this, I actually need to make an update to one of our storybook components. So when I originally built this app, I had a classical ranked choice voting algorithm where everyone votes, and the candidate that receives the least amount of votes, their votes get given to other candidates. And so you kind of have this rounds of voting. However, that doesn't work for a small number of candidates, or even more so, for a small number of participants. And since, I'm demoing this with 3 or 4 participants, I just decided to do this weighted algorithm where the first vote counts for so much, the second vote counts for less, and the third one counts for even less. And you can see that in the server folder. Let's see if I can find where it is. So I'm going to search get results. I think that's the name of the function I wrote. And let's see, it's imported from where? Get results. There's actually a get results file. Let's see if we can find where this is. Okay, in polls, get results. So if you want to see the algorithm, you just go to the server folder, polls, get results. I use this weird exponential power thing where it depends on how many total candidates there are. That will kind of weight how each subsequent vote is counting. And, I was an engineer before, so I like, these series that have some sort of power to it. So that's why we're going to actually, let's close all these. We're going to update back in our client application a component under UI called result card. So we were displaying a results list, which kind of had multiple results cards, but we're only going to need a result card now. So it was using this round result now, which isn't even found anymore, which is in the shared poll types here. And remember, shared poll types is in a separate package. We're using NPM workspaces, and this was kind of to share some types between the server and client, specifically types for the actual poll data. So now we actually have a type called results here, which is simply just a single array with items for nomination ID, text, and the score of that item. So it actually got a lot simpler, and again, that was called results. So we'll import results. Why I made this a deep read-only, I don't know what I was thinking, but the compiler will warn people if they want to, try to mutate the data in this result. Let's actually call this results. And results. Previously, we could see what percent of the total votes per round a user got, but now since there's just a weighted score, we actually don't even need the total votes or the percent. Furthermore, there is a div here where we're going to this one, which allowed us to either toggle to show the percent or to show the total value. So we're going to actually get rid of this whole div up to here. And actually, you know what? Let's just get rid of the content inside because I want to keep this style. So let's get rid of the content in this div. And it looks like I missed some stuff. And basically what we have here is we have a grid, and this grid has 3 columns. And so the first column shows the actual text of the nomination. And then the second column, which is a little narrower, it takes up 1/3. This one takes up 2/3. We'll have text aligned to the right, and this will be the actual score. Now, first of all, our props now receive results, so we need to map over the results, and there is no votes anymore. It's just a direct array. And so then it receives this candidate, or let's just call this result now. So I'm going to use Command D to quickly change these all to result. And we still have a nomination ID, which is used to give a React key here. And this result will actually have nomination text now. And then in this second column, we want to add the result.score. So I think that was it. Let's remove this unused use state. And to show this in Storybook, we have to change the mock or fake data that we pass to this because our props are completely different now. Now our stories are in this story folder. And so there should be one called resultcard.stories.typescript. We no longer have a round result. We just have results. We still want to have the base component be a result card. Now, this is not an explanation of Storybook. I recommend you go check that out. And we're just going to produce some results here, which will be of type results. So this is going to be kind of like the mock array data that we receive back from the server, just to show inside of Storybook. So this is actually an array now. So I want to get rid of this whole thing. And then we are going to replace it as follows. So I'm going to add an array here. And so what you need to do is just add a series of items. I put a pretty long list with a nomination ID, a score, and nomination text. So the server should return these in order from highest score to lowest. So you can see that they just keep decreasing. There's a unique nomination ID for each one. And very good. Then we need to export this component with these results, and you can name it. I call this results card long because I have a lot of nominations. And then what you do is you type .args and you bind results to it. Now the reason this is giving me an error is because I already had this before. So let's get rid of the rest of the results. What did I do here? Let's just delete everything that's left. So we had 2 components. So this whole business about exporting a results card long.args, basically we could also do something like, export a second demo component called short, and then we could pass it results that are shorter. So you just kind of give it a name that will show in Storybook, and you can pass different props to show what happens if you pass different props to your component. Let's get rid of this and save. And let's check this out in Storybook. So I'm in Storybook, and let's go to result card, and you see this is called result card long. You could change this name, but it's basically just adding spaces between the capitalized words. And there we go. We have the Taco Bell, Del Taco, Papa's Tacos, and we have these ordered rankings. Now I think there is 1 or 2 things I forgot here. Now we need to actually have a title. Instead of just saying candidate here, we need to have something that says score. And then I also want to make sure each of these scores is to 2 decimal places. So let's save the story. Let's go back to the result card. Aha, so this div is the header. So I added the actual result score in a column 1 span div here, but I also need to add some text that says score for the title. So that fixes one of our issues. And then I want result.score to fixed 2. Now, if I refresh that, now we have score in the title and everything is to 2 decimal places. So with that component fixed, we can now, let's just go back to the page of results. Did I not add this to the right place? It looks like I called the component rankings. That's kind of weird. This should actually be results, and so we'll have to see where we fix that. So sorry for that error. I'll put a note there. Let's make sure we change it everywhere. In pages, let's make sure it's at page.results imports results. All right, I think that fixes that. We'll see. So let's now add some UI that will show how many participants have voted if there are no results, and then we'll show the actual results once everyone's votes are in. We'll add this directly below the H1 tag, and we'll import the result card, which just receives poll.results. This prop is properly formatted and matches the poll.results. And this ranking count, we are going to import from the snapshot of the state. So I wonder if we can auto import that. No. So let's go here and type rankings count. So then we'll also show the participant count. So this basically just says that the number of rankings of a total of the participants. So it's basically saying what portion of the participants have voted. I'm just going to keep adding the markup and plow ahead and then do one final demo. I know it would be nice to see this right now, but these tutorials are getting long and this commentary isn't helping. I now want to add some UI for the admin to close the poll. And we'll add this beneath this full width div, so inside of this flex. All right, so what does this do? We're going to add if there is an admin and if the results are not in. So by default, the results is actually an empty array. I maybe should have made it null. So if there is no length, then the results are not in. Then we'll have a button for the admin to close the poll, which will open a confirmation modal where they will confirm, and then they will submit an action to close the poll, which will return the results to the user. Again, this is an admin only. Now, if people aren't an admin, we'll just display some text saying that we're waiting for the admin. We'll get their name from the participants in the poll data. So we'll say waiting for that admin to finalize the poll. However, if there are poll results, we'll give any user, doesn't have to be an admin, the ability to leave to clear their local storage and stuff. Let's now add those confirmation dialogues, and let's add them outside of the div since they're kind of positioned not relative to anything else. And let's import the confirmation dialogue. So the first one is to end the poll, and it's just saying, are you sure you want to close it and calculate the results? If that is true, we'll call an as of yet not created action called close poll, and then we'll set the confirmation modal open to false. So we just want to make sure we close that. And then if the users want to leave the poll after the results have been shown, we'll give them the opportunity to confirm, which we'll just call the actions.startOver, which clears all of their state. And actually, I think we already did define close poll earlier. I think we just need to import actions from state. Well, guys, we're about ready to do our final demo. All right, let's do this. I probably should have scripted this, but let's do the old where should we eat? This is Jacob. I've been using the same names a lot. We'll copy this code. We'll join with this user. We'll call her Denise. Join. This person will join, and we'll say this is Eddie with a Y, not an IE. All right, let's start nominating stuff. Let's go to In-N-Out Burger. I'm from California, so yeah. Not from coastal California for you people that aren't from California. There's no beach in sight. Pretty mountains, though. Let's see. And a lot of desert. California is a lot of desert. Anyway, let's go to Taco Bell. Actually, let's not do that. Let's nominate one more each. Los Alazanes, local taco chain, if you want to stalk me. Depends on which one you go to, if it's good or not. We're from SoCal, so we like Del Taco. And let's try Tacos El Güero. Let's give the little 2 dots there. It seems like every taqueria is called that. Like, come up with an original name. All right. So it shows how many people have voted, the number of participants. You can test leave poll on your own. We tested that earlier. Let's start the voting. So let's do, no, not Taco Bell. Los Alazanes, Tacos El Güero, and then In-N-Out. Cool, they confirm, and so it shows 1 of 3 participants has voted. Pretty sweet. And let's make sure these numbers are working here. Papa's Tacos, In-N-Out, Los Alisanes. Let's submit. 0 votes remaining, so that's working. Confirm. Bada boom. 2 of 3 have voted. Man, guys, you should be pretty proud of yourself. This is pretty sweet. Let's do 1, 2, 3, and then this guy likes Taco Bell. And they've all voted. And now the admin can end the poll. Maybe I should make this say close poll. Go ahead and fix it if you want. All right, here goes. Cross our fingers. Bam! Results. Looks like Los Alisanes won. So the gentleman, the owner with the golden tooth, is going to be really happy that he gets all 3 of our business. So anyway, y'all did great work. Thanks so much for joining me. This is kind of tedious. This requires serious investment. And so please like any of the videos if you liked them or found them helpful. Again, thanks for sticking along. This is not easy stuff. I could just do another demo of Pina or don't do this, don't make this mistake. But I wanted to make something that's realistic. I know it's not for everyone. In fact, I'll probably start making smaller YouTube videos next year because it's just a lot of investment to make this and less people are interested. But I do appreciate those of you who have reached out to me to show your appreciation, whether in the comments or some people in LinkedIn. So take care, God bless, and see you next time.